Hello guys, welcome to Indian economy class, and in this lecture we shall be discussing about Indian economy, the situation of Indian economy during colonial times and what were the challenges during those times. The aim of the lesson is to understand that how was the Indian economy performing during the colonial era. Then did the wealth that were generated by British, did it really reach the Indian masses? Then what were the issues that had to be addressed on an urgent basis after independence? When British left India, India was in the situation of higher impoverishment, and to deal with that, uh, to deal with those issues, what were the steps that were taken? And there were many steps that were also taken just before independence, like process of forming 5-year plan, Visvesvaraya initiatives. So in first, let us first start with this graph where we will be comparing the GDP, and in this graph mainly Britain, Japan, USSR have been compared over the years, and these countries followed the path of industrialization. See, around 1600 India GDP was much higher. India GDP was much higher than countries like Britain, Japan, USSR. This much gap can be seen. Okay, but at this point the GDP of most of the country with India, it converged, because at this time industrial revolution came into the picture. And after the start of industrial revolution, and due to colonization of India and de handicraft, uh, then our India has many trade. Our India has many internal handicraft industry that were known throughout the world. But after industrial revolution, these the handicrafts of uh, India were demoralized, demotivated, and after this, after industrial revolution, the uh, GDP of USSR, then Britain, it increased further, while India's GDP remained stagnant or declined. Here the blue line graph, blue line is about India. This Indian line is a flat line across 3 centuries. In the 3 century, you can see it is almost a flat line. It not increase, but other you can see in the increasing trend. The trend of GDP graph, GDP line of other countries are in increasing trend. Other economies have their trigger points for upward trajectory. The other lines of other country, it followed the higher trajectory, upward trajectory means path. So trigger point here is this is called the point of industrial revolution, this one. Then due to British colonization and the drain of wealth, the Indian economy was reduced to the status of cash cow. Means after industrial revolution and British colonization, the India was just a supplier of raw material and consumer of British finished goods. Means British did not focus much on production, but it focused on importing or exporting raw material from India and importing into Britain. So India was merely a supplier of raw material and consumer, and whatever the goods that were produced from the raw material that were received from India, that were exported back to India. That means India was just a consumer of British finished goods, and there was no growth of GDP. And at the onset of World War One, that is 1913, all the three economies were roughly at the same level. At 1913, onset of World War One, we can see that the three economy, Britain, Japan, USSR, and India also, it is almost at the same level. Japan had a smaller population, it had comparatively smaller GDP, and we can see that by the time of 1950, that is at the end of World War II, USSR and Britain prospered more. And This is the after World War II. India here. India is stagnant. India is flat. India's line goes flat. But Britain and USSR, it prospered more. And you can also see that Japan is in poor condition than India at that time. By the time 1950, at the end of World War II, USSR and Britain prospered, although after the war they had suffered huge losses and were in debt, yet they somehow consolidated their gain. But India presents a picture of despair. So India's situation is not good enough, and its GDP is almost flat. There is no growth in GDP at all. India is just a consumer of finished goods of Britain. India does not produce anything. India is just a supplier of raw material, and India has not much GDP growth. So let us see a greater picture of Indian economy during a colonial rule. So first point is that it had poor economic development, as we can infer from the fact that there was not much finished product export from India. India only exported finished goods from Britain. India was just a supplier of raw material. India had very good trade with British colonialism, known for its high quality goods. Before British came into India, India was known for its high quality wood. India was also known for shipbuilding. India was known for many products that were produced by handicraft, and they were exported to Europe. And the spices also India exported, and that is why the European country wanted to trade with India. But after British and advent, when British came into India, trade and commerce deteriorated. Handloom industry that suffered a large setback due to selfish British policies. We can explain again this via the small presentation, that is India provided raw material to Britain, then industrial revolution in Britain, and Britain itself was not able to consume domestically high quantity of goods produced, and so India as a consumer became a consumer of British finished goods. Then it led to trade surplus of Britain, means in Britain had more export than import, and this money that were either drained to Britain, means Britain forcefully made us importer and made us consumer, exported India more products, finished products, and this led to trade surplus of Britain. Means Britain earned more money, and that we can say that the money were drained to Britain or used in India for British interest. So whatever the money came, that were used in British interest, that were used to pay British salary, and on this basis a book was written, The Un-British Rule, by Dadabhai Naoroji, which explained the drain of wealth from India to Britain. In 1870, 24% of world GDP belonged to UK. In 1870, world GDP का 24% was belonged to UK, and 12% of world GDP belonged to India in 1870. 12% of world GDP belonged to India, but if before 1870, more than 24% of world GDP belonged to India. So we are talking about 1870, means after 1857 Battle of Plassey, when almost British captured Bengal, Orissa. So in 1870, 24% of world GDP belonged to UK, and 12% of world GDP still belonged to India. Therefore, India was the biggest cash cow to the UK, means supplier of raw material, in spite of having other colonies as well. Half of the UK's GDP was contributed by India. Half of UK GDP, 24% of world GDP, that belongs to UK. इसमें से जो आधा GDP था वो इंडिया की वजह से था. Thus the British should have taken steps. तो इसलिए ब्रिटिश, it was the moral responsibility of British to take steps in terms of agricultural reforms, as India was agrarian economy, means India was agricultural economy, but nothing much was done. In agriculture, there was poor investment in terracing, flood control, drainage, desalination of soil, or scientific development, research. There was not much investment done, and it did not benefit farmer. There were, and in social sector also, social sector of India was also neglected. In 1947 we can see the literacy rate is only 17%, and in internal IMR, infant mortality rate in 1947 is just 218, means out of 1000 babies that are born, only 218 will live in infant mortality. Then life expectancy at birth, what could be life that could be expected, how many years of life a child can be expected. The life expectancy at birth was just 32.5 years, so it was too less. And social sector means it was neglected, there are no much investment. Then in foreign trade also, foreign trade was highly controlled. 50% of trade with British, so most of the trade was with British only, and there was no diversity, and British just imported raw material, and finished goods were forcefully sent to India. There was drain of wealth. The un-British rule of British un-British rule by Dadabhai Nauroji. The book was written, highlighted the drain of wealth theory. Then industrialization. British discouraged industrialization because it was more focused on exporting raw material for industrializing their own country, that is Britain, United Kingdom. There was no benefit of creating a competitive market. तो अगर ब्रिटिश ध्यान देती कि हमें भी इंडस्ट्री बनानी है इंडिया में, तो हम भी इंडस्ट्री, अगर इंडस्ट्री से हम प्रोडक्शन करने लगते तो कंपटीशन हो जाता, तो क्यों कोई कंपटीशन चाहेगा। तो ब्रिटेन डिस्करेज इंडस्ट्रियलाइजेशन। ठीक है, और कुछ इंडस्ट्रीज अगर डेवलप भी हुई, जैसे कॉटन की हुई, जूट की हुई, तो दैट वाज अ ब्लेसिंग इन डिस्गाइज। रेलवे डेवलप हुई तो दैट वाज जस्ट अ ब्लेसिंग इन डिस्गाइज। रेलवे का कुछ और मकसद था, रॉ मटेरियल को ज्यादा एक्सपोर्ट करना इंडिया से। Then poor skills of workforce, no core industries were set up to support other industries, then absence of favorable laws. Then British firms dominated in shipping, coal, banking, insurance, plantation crops. In plantation, जैसे कॉफी प्लांटेशन हो गया, रबर प्लांटेशन साउथ इंडिया में। there was no capital goods industry in the country which could produce their capital good. तो कैपिटल गुड इंडस्ट्री कुछ भी इंडिया में ऐसा प्रोड्यूस नहीं हुआ। तो इस वजह से जो पर कैपिटा इनकम ग्रोथ है 1600 से 1870 तक 0% था। पर कैपिटा इनकम का ग्रोथ 1870 से 1950 से 0.2% था। और 1899 में पर कैपिटा इनकम वाज ओनली ₹18 इन इंडिया। और 1900 के पास जो पर कैपिटा इनकम था दैट वाज जस्ट ₹18। तो देयर वाज नो डेवलपमेंट इन रूरल एरियाज व्हिच लेड टू फेमाइन्स, एपिडेमिक्स। ठीक है, एक एपिडेमिक्स आया था 1897 के टाइम, बाल गंगाधर तिलक ने उसमें एक रोल भी प्ले किया था ब्रिटिश के अगेंस्ट। देन इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर, railways, roads, ports, telegraph, they were developed to certain extent. To some extent only they were developed, but the only motive to develop those railways, roads, ports, telegraph to serve British interest, including what were the British interest? That was mobilization of army to transport army from one place to another, to suppress any types of riots, or suppress any types of movement against Britain. Then transporting raw material, finished goods, maintaining law and order. To maintain law and order, these railways, road, ports, telegraph were developed. Although the Indian masses benefited, it brought the Indian masses closer. But the main aim was just to for law and order, mobilization of army, transporting raw material. For example, overcoming, and how it benefited Indian masses. It benefited Indian masses in overcoming geographical and cultural barriers. The people of Jammu Kashmir or Haryana, Punjab, they came in contact to the Madrasi, or the people of Maharashtra or Kerala, and it helped in communication. And these facilities earlier that were and this led to more pan India movement in later freedom struggle, like non cooperation movement, quit India movement. गो बैक साइमन मूवमेंट, ठीक है। तो बट दिस फैसिलिटी वर लिमिटेड टू अर्बन एंड ब्रिटिश इंटरेस्ट एरियाज, और इसलिए हम ये देखते हैं कि जो 4 महानगर जो डेवलप हुआ, जैसे बॉम्बे, कोलकाता, मद्रास, चेन्नई, so these are on the seaside, not any interior parts were not much developed. And even today we can see any big city on the location of some uh, raw material. For example, we can see in the location of coal rich area, we can see Dhanbad or Bokaro. Next is issues that had to be addressed urgently, and at the time of independence, what were the issues that had to be addressed urgently? The state should get major responsibility for development. So at that time when British left, we were a much impoverished economy. We were not having much GDP. We were no, and just a war had finished, and terrible riots had occurred, led to division of country. The states, though, so it was decided that the state should get major responsibility for the development due to absence of large-scale privatization. Eventually, private companies bloomed in India, including Tisco, Tata Steel Company, then cotton, jute textile mills, but they were in the form of small factories with slow growth. Then there was urgent requirement for development of heavy industries. Heavy industries की बहुत जरूरत थी, तो फर्स्ट 5 ईयर प्लान में कुछ फर्स्ट 5 ईयर प्लान में हैवी इंडस्ट्रियलाइजेशन को, हैवी इंडस्ट्रीज को प्राइम मूवर बताया गया, प्राइम मूवर डिक्लेयर किया गया कि हम हैवी इंडस्ट्रीज की ओर ध्यान देंगे। इसका क्रिटिक्स भी है कि हमें एग्रीकल्चर पे ध्यान देना चाहिए था। एमिंग टुवर्ड सेल्फ सस्टेनेंस, सेल्फ सस्टेनेबल बनाएंगे इकोनॉमी को, नीड फॉर इकोनॉमिक प्लानिंग टू एड्रेस सोशल इशूज, लो पर कैपिटा इनकम जो उस समय थी, हाई पॉवर्टी थी, देयर वाज इलिटरेसी, अनएम्प्लॉयमेंट, लैक ऑफ हेल्थ, एजुकेशन अपॉर्चुनिटी। तो फर्स्ट 5 ईयर प्लान, विश्वेश्वरैया प्लान आया, फिर पीसी महलानोबिस प्लान आया, पीसी महलानोबिस। तो ये सब के बेसिस पे कभी एग्रीकल्चर को प्राइम मूवर बनाया गया, फिर इंडस्ट्रीज को, हैवी इंडस्ट्रीज को ज्यादा फोकस एरिया में रखा गया। So this was just an overview that how was the Indian economy during colonial times, and what were the challenges, and what were the issues that to be have to be addressed, ठीक है। तो इससे आपको ओवरऑल आइडिया मिल जाता है, कुछ डेटा है, फैक्ट्स है, और कुछ फैक्ट्स आप भी अपने तरफ से हिस्ट्री के ऐड कर सकते हो, जिससे आपको इससे रिलेटेड जब क्वेश्चंस आएंगे तो वहां पे आप लिख सकते हो। और एंड द मेन एम इज टू इंक्रीज योर अंडरस्टैंडिंग of the topic.